Imagine you're a massage therapist at a spa. You're ready to welcome a walk in customer. A well dressed woman in her late 30s walks in holding hands with her young son. You think to yourself, "Aw, that's sweet." As you begin the massage, you can't help but hope her little boy will be able to wait patiently for an hour. After all, kids around 6 or 7 aren't exactly great at handling boredom. An hour passes, your work is done, and the woman heads to the front counter to pay for her service. But where's her son? Did she forget him?
Mom, where's your son?
You ask. She gives you a strange look and replies,
What son? I don't have kids. I came here alone.
The story I'm about to tell is about a house my mother bought more than 20 years ago. It all started when she saw a listing for a second-hand house. But this house wasn't just an ordinary residence. It had been renovated into a spa and wellness massage business. The previous owner wasn't only selling the house, but also handing over the business with it. Since my mother wanted to start a business, she thought it was a good opportunity, so she agreed to sign the contract. The house itself was a detached single home located in a middle class to upper class neighborhood. It had a total area of about 280 square meters with a lawn outside. My mother renovated it further and then began running the business. At that time, I was probably still in high school. I would go there occasionally after school and on some weekends since my mom was always there. I'm pretty sure this house has at least two ghosts. One is a woman, and the other is a little boy. How do I know? I don't have any special sixth sense or anything like that. Most of it comes from people gossiping about their experiences in the house. After the spa opened, my mom's small business did pretty well. We had 8 to 9 therapists, sometimes even more. There were a lot of customers, though it also depended on the occasion. The ghost stories started floating around and eventually reached my ears one day. I heard about a customer who supposedly had a sixth sense walking into the spa. He didn't say anything during the massage, but when he was about to pay at the counter, he asked the receptionist.
Do you know someone died in this house?
The receptionist was shocked because this was not the kind of question a customer normally asks, nor something she expected to hear. He continued,
It's all right. There's nothing to be afraid of. She is the typical lady in white with long hair. I think she ended her life here.
The receptionist was still speechless, trying to process the information she had just received. He added,
She has now become like a guardian spirit of this place. So don't forget to make an offering from time to time.
Where and how did she die in this house?
the receptionist finally asked, asking the question that really mattered. Mr. Sixth Sense smiled faintly but did not answer.
How could I know?
He said. Then he looked up at the large wooden beams crossing the ceiling of the house. The receptionist told this story to my mom and, of course, to everyone who worked there. Everyone agreed that it was a chilling tale. The masseuses and other staff felt uneasy at first because they had experienced some weird things even before this sixth sense customer arrived, though no one could really explain what it was. The strange occurrences were mostly noises and the feeling of being watched. What this man said felt like a confirmation. Over time, the fear faded until someone experienced something supernatural again. Many months passed, and the same sixth sense customer came back. He confirmed once again that everything was fine and that the woman's spirit here was not malevolent. He also suggested that my mom invite a helpful spirit, something like the spirit of Kumanthong. If you want to know more about this, I'll put a link in the description and a card at the end of this video. My mom thought it was not a bad idea, since this kind of spirit is believed to help with business. She asked someone who knew someone with the right connections. A week later, a small statue of a boy dressed in traditional Thai costume arrived. His job was to help bring in more customers, and our job was to feed him offerings like candies, snacks, and toys, such as a toy train or racing car. He even had a name. Let's call him Jacob. And you guessed it, the little boy I mentioned at the beginning, he was Jacob, helping to bring in a customer. After that, the people who worked at the spa had even more spooky stories to share. Many of them said they could hear the sounds of a child. While they were working, everything was supposed to be quiet, with only faint background music so customers could relax. But they would hear the sound of a child playing with a toy racing car outside the massage rooms. Even some customers heard it too. The masseuses would have to step out and call him by name.
Jacob, can you please go play somewhere else? We need to keep it quiet in here.
Customers lying in the rooms might have assumed there was actually a child there, but in reality, no one was there. Most of the staff could feel Jacob's presence. Of course, they were a little afraid, but he was a good boy. He brought in customers. One day, the sixth sense customer, who had now become a regular, came back. He spoke to the little boy statue.
Hey, Jacob, today's the lottery drawing. Can you help me win?
The receptionist was there when he said this. He continued.
If I win, I'll buy you a plane toy.
After that, he went in for his massage session. When he came out, he had actually won the lottery. Of course, Jacob got his plane toy. This made Jacob very popular among the staff. They would always bring offerings for him and ask him for things they wanted. Like I said, I didn't spend a lot of time in this house, but there was one time I encountered something unexplainable. One summer, during a school break, the spa was closed for a long holiday. I was there with my mom. She was planning renovations or repairing things as usual, and I was keeping her company until late. I remember it clearly. It was around midnight. We were sitting in the guest reception area in the hallway in the middle of the house. My mom was in an armchair across from me with a coffee table between us. I was on a long sofa, not facing her, but facing the side of a wooden staircase with my laptop. We weren't talking. Everything was quiet. Then I heard it. The sound of someone walking up the stairs. It was clear and deliberate. The stairs in the second floor were made of wood, so footsteps were easy to hear. The sounds were loud enough for me to lift my head from the laptop and look at the stairs. A second later, I turned to my mom. She was already looking at me. Our eyes locked because we both knew it was just the two of us there. My mom whispered,
Is it a staff member coming back early or a burglar?
I didn't think so. The sounds were so close that I expected to see feet walking if I looked up, since I was facing that direction. We mustered up the courage to go upstairs. I led the way with my mom behind me. I opened each room. They were all empty. No one was there. I got goosebumps all over. It felt like I had walked through some kind of energy or force. I couldn't see it, but I could feel it. That was the only time I personally encountered anything weird in this house. Other than me, my mom, and the staff, who might be biased since they already knew about the paranormal activity, a few other people who had never heard the stories also experienced strange things. One of them was a handyman. Something in the spa needed to be fixed, and he came from another city. The work couldn't be completed in one day, so my mom suggested he spend the night at the spa. We had plenty of beds, after all. After that night, he seemed to rush to finish the job. Years later, when my mom hired him again, he told her that the last time he stayed at the spa, he had barely slept at all. He said he could feel someone watching him, so close that he could feel their breath on his face. He was too terrified to open his eyes and see who or what it was. Another person is my cousin. I'll let you hear her story from her perspective.
First, I should say that I had been to this spa 2 or 3 times before, but I had never experienced anything unusual. Most of the time, I stayed only on the first floor. Then came the year 2011, when Thailand faced a massive flood crisis. Many areas that had never been affected before were hit, including my home. My house was in a central province, and as the floodwaters started spreading from the north, my parents believed it would soon reach our town too. They decided to send me to stay with my aunt temporarily. Not long after I arrived, there were rumors that this area might also be flooded. My aunt invited nearby relatives to stay together in one place for safety, and that place was the spa. At that time, I was around 14 or 15 years old. Being together with my cousins, we wanted something fun to do. And one idea was watching movies. I loved horror movies, especially when there were a lot of people. It made it even more exciting. I suggested we watch a horror film, but my aunt disagreed and recommended something else instead. When I asked her why, she didn't answer. I figured she was just scared. Since the rest of us didn't think much about it, we went ahead and watched the horror movie anyway. When the movie ended, it was time to sleep. I shared a second-floor room near the left staircase with 3 cousins. We lay down side by side, 4 of us in total, and I was the one closest to the door. Normally, I fall asleep easily anywhere, but that night I couldn't. I felt restless, maybe because of the horror movie. I thought I was just overthinking. The next night, I decided to move to the other side of the room, thinking it might help. But that night, something happened, something so strange that even after all these years, I still don't know if it was real or just a dream. I don't know how long I'd been asleep when I suddenly felt something tugging at my hair. My first instinct was to start praying because whatever it was didn't feel human. But the more I prayed, the harder the pulling became, until it felt like my whole head was being yanked. When I stopped praying, it weakened. When I prayed again, it grew stronger. This back and forth happened 2 or 3 times. Finally, I forced myself awake. I sat up in confusion and saw my cousin on the other bed, far enough away that she couldn't have reached me, casually playing on her phone. It was already past 11 a.m. When I told everyone what had happened, they jokingly said it might have been the guardian spirits of the house trying to wake me because I had overslept. About a month later, after the floodwaters had receded, the spa, which had also been affected, needed to be cleaned. I stayed there again to help my aunt and cousins. This time my parents were with me, and I didn't sleep in the same room as before. For about a week, everything was normal. No strange events, until the very last night. The next morning, I was supposed to go home since school was about to reopen. That night, I had a dream. In the dream, I was talking with someone. I couldn't see her face, only her arm as she handed me a small piece of paper with numbers on it. "Take it," she said. "What is it?" I asked. "Just take it," she replied, sounding slightly annoyed. I woke up suddenly and forgot about the dream. On the way home the next day, we stopped by a famous temple. I happened to notice a lottery vendor, and the dream came back to me. I told my mom, and she suggested buying a ticket with the numbers from my dream. That month, I actually won a small prize, with those exact numbers. Because I loved hearing ghost stories, I often asked my relatives if they'd experienced anything at the spa. I ended up hearing many more strange stories. Let me share another one with you. This happened years ago, but both my sister and my aunt, who were there, still remember it clearly. My aunt was the one who managed the spa. Every day she opened it in the morning and closed it at night, which meant she was always the last one there. One evening, my sister came for a massage close to closing time. She used one of the rooms on the first floor in the back. While she was getting her massage, my aunt checked the rest of the spa. When my sister finished, she told my aunt she would drive her home. So she waited at the front counter while my aunt did one last check in the back rooms. After everything was in order, my aunt came out and said, "All done, let's go." But my sister looked confused. "No need to rush," she said. "Let's wait until the other customer leaves."
What customer?
"The one upstairs. I saw someone walking down the stairs as I passed by."
There aren't any other customers.
My aunt replied.
You were the last one.
The two of them looked at each other in silence. Neither of them wanted to find out who or what my sister had seen. They quickly left the spa without looking back.
And now we've reached the end of this episode. What do you think? In a place meant for rest, beauty, and calm, do you believe unseen guests still wander the halls? Some whisper it's the white dress, long hair lady who lingers upstairs. Others say it's the little boy Jacob, forever waiting for his next toy. But maybe, just maybe, it's the faceless ones, watching silently, never revealing who they are. One thing is certain, some spirits never check out. Subscribe for more chilling stories, folk tales, and urban legends from around the world.